so that everybody gets a chance to read. And Shivaj, would you like to start, please?
Yes, ma'am. Location: Norway. Official: the Kingdom of Norway. Comprise the western part of Sand.
I'm going to say that for you. It's called Scandinavia.
Scandinavia.
Wonderful.
In North Europe. This country is divided into 5 regions and 19th
We call those
province.
provinces. I don't know. Province is a region. Okay, so province. It's like a state.
Province,
Mhm.
province which are further divided into 433 multiplications. Norway is the total area of 855 and 252 square kilometer and population of about 4.8 millions, and it is bordered with
Bordered
Finland,
with
bordered with Finland,
Good. Sweden.
Sweden, and Russia. The capital city of Norway is Oslo.
Very good. Oh, wow. You said Oslo, just like a Norwegian. Let's go to the next slide. So, okay, about the population. Sartak, would you like to read that?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. About population, Norway is the least after Iceland populated European country. The average population density is 14.7 inhabitants per 1 kilometer two. The population is concentrated mainly in the southern part of the country and on the coast. Oslo is the biggest conurbation. The
I don't know
average
what that was. Go ahead. I
average
got this,
population-
excuse me, I'm sorry, Sartak, that conurbation. I'm not sure that's an English word. I got this slide off the internet. So, well, I think what they meant, it's the biggest city. So go ahead, keep going.
Yes, ma'am. Conurbation. The average population density is 3,787 persons per kilometer two. The average life expectancy in Norway is 78.7 years. Literacy has been acquired. Almost 100% of the population and almost all the people have completed secondary education.
Well read. You just read that so fluently. So let's go to the next slide. Anati, would you like to read this one? Anati?
Sure, ma'am. Climate. South and central Norway is located in a maritime temperatures climate, and the north, the Arctic Circle, is the moderate. In some areas, the snow resides all year round, and the temperature reaches 30 Celsius.
Did you see the minus in front of that?
Resist.
Minus 30 degrees.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
minus
cold.
30 Celsius.
Yeah, very cold in some of the places.
I really
So-
get surprised, ma'am, excuse me. When there is a minus degree, means it is a freezing point. How come living being survive in minus 30 degree?
It's way below freezing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it's like a refrigerator up there. It's like being in a freezer. It just is so far from the sun, right? Yeah.
Right.
And the earth tilted on its axis, the earth blocks some of the sunlight, and you'll find it's just an Arctic place, very similar to the North Pole.
Actually, one of my brother-in-law has gone to Germany and is having a very hard time because of weather there now.
Oh, it's terrible there. I've been
Very,
following
very
someone on
warm, yes.
Instagram from Germany, and it's cold there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But they're saying, as you can see in these pictures, the water acts as a modifier of that climate. So if you're close to the water, it doesn't get as cold, but the farther inland and the farther north you go, the colder. And I have never been in minus 30. Anadi, what do you have to say?
Ma'am, there may be schools as there is been living there. So do they have ice skating in their schools as a subject?
Yeah, yes, very much. So ice skating and skiing is very popular. Sledding, yeah. So anything, the ice sports, even throwing snowballs at each other is very fun. Some people like to lay in the snow and put their hands over their head and make snow angels, a pattern in the snow it's very fun thing to do as well. Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
But I have to say, if you're minus 30 degrees, it can freeze your lungs when you breathe.
Oh.
So people would go out with a scarf over their mouth, bundled up in probably fur around their face, just to stay from freezing because it's so cold. And honestly, I've never been in 30 degrees. I can't imagine. Very cold. Yeah, I've been below 0 before, but never minus 30. Okay, let's go to the next slide. It's Manav's turn. Manav, would you like to read the beginning of that, please? Industry and politics. It means the government and also manufacturing.
Mana, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
start.
can I read?
Yeah.
Norway is a highly dependent upon
Developed.
developed
And I'm
developed
going to
in
say
the
that next word for you. It's a very long word. So industrialized. In industry. Good.
industrialized country
Yeah, like.
Good job.
often create
Cited.
credited as one of the rarest
Richest.
countries.
It's one of the richest. Mhm. Can I stop there for a minute? The reason it's one of the richest countries is they found oil off the coast
Oh.
of Norway. So
Mhm.
that is why. Yeah. So you can keep on reading if you'd like to, Manav.
Yes. Norway has rich resources of oil,
Resources.
nature gas,
Resources.
nature gas,
Gas,
nature
Yes.
like petrol.
hydroelectric power for forest and minerals also minerals, and was the second largest exporter of
You can stop there.
seafood.
That's awesome. Of seafood. So you'll find cod is their main seafood that they export. So Dutch, welcome. Would you like to read the last 2 paragraphs? If you're there. There
Dutch.
you are, Dutch.
He just
Starting with
got it.
other major industries. So other main ways of making money. I think we'll let him be for a minute. Shivansh, would you like to go to other major industries?
Ma'am, that last one paragraph, na?
Yeah, second last.
Second last, yes, please.
Okay. Norway has rich
Resources.
resources of oil, natural gases, hydroelectric power,
Yes.
forest, and minerals, and was the second largest
Exporter.
explorer of seafood. Other major industry include shipping, food processing,
Processing.
shipbuilding, mining,
Mining.
fishing, and paper product for forest. Norway is the constitutional
Monarchy.
Monarchy.
monarchy and parliamentary democracy, with the king
Harold
Harold
the Fifth.
Heard we as
Five.
its
Five.
Yeah, that's the Roman numeral.
Yes.
V means 5. Yeah.
Head of state and Jeans
Stoltenberg.
stolen as its prime minister.
So it's basically got a king, but it's also got a parliament. So there's the picture of the king on the bottom left. So, and then it's okay, let's go to the next one. And I
should I
believe,
read?
yeah, let's see, Dutch, you're here. Would you like to read that?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Norway has endless attractions of nature.
Can I stop you there? The
Fjord,
next, you said fjords. Good job. Fjords. Yeah, good.
fjords, which are formed in the glacial period, are unique in the world. Norway is a country of mighty rivers and waterfalls. Nature and forest cover little more than a quarter of the country.
So nature is really popular there. And we'll see some beautiful shots of camera photos of their nature a little bit later. Let's go to the next slide.
Oh,
Okay, Sartak, it's your turn.
Yes, ma'am. Norwegian cuisine is different from the rest of the
Suzanne.
world's.
I want to
Cuisine.
say that again, cuisine. It's a French word,
yeah,
cuisine. It
cuisine.
means cooking.
Norwegian.
Norwegian cuisine is different from the rest of the world cuisine. The main dish is fish. The main kind of fish used in the kitchen is a cod. Specialties of their cuisine are also salted herring served with a glass of vodka, salmon, and trout and seafood. Norwegian kitchen is also rich in dairy products.
The picture on the bottom left, I eat that at my house. It's a cheese and a Norwegian cheese, and it tastes like caramel. It's a very sweet cheese made out of goat milk and cow's milk together. So myself and my granddaughter, we love it. It's so sweet and so good, like caramel, like candy. So when we were in Norway, something that we ate a lot is right under the word food, and it would be a chowder, so it would be a dairy-based soup. Yeah, so we can go to the next slide. And language, let's go to Unati, are you there? Yes, you are.
Should I read?
It's Anati's turn.
Yes, ma'am. Language. The North Germanic Norwegian language has two official written forms, Bokmal and Nyrox.
Good.
Is it?
Yes.
Both of them are recognized as official languages since they both used in public administration, in schools, churches, and media, but Bokmal is used by the vast majority, about 85 to 90%. Around 90% of the population speak Norwegian as their mother tongue. All through many speak delicates that may differ significantly from the written language.
So it's a bit like your country where the people speak different languages. And when I went there, I said, I'd love to learn to speak Norwegian. And they shook their head and they said, it depends on where you live in Norway. You might learn part of the language, but you're not going to probably be able to communicate with everybody because people speak different languages there. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, and I believe now it's Manav's turn. And he might have checked
No.
out for a minute.
Should I read?
Where's
it's-
Manav?
Are you there, Dutch? If he's not there, it's Dutch's turn.
Yes, ma'am, I'm there, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, let's go for it.
There are approximately 92,946 kilometers of road networks in Norway. There are 4 road routes: national, county, municipal, and private. The central gateway by air to Norway is also airport.
Or Oslo or Oslo?
Oslo Airport, Gardermoen, located about 50 kilometers north of Oslo.
Yes, and they have a wonderful, beautiful train system, as you can see. So trains and planes. And let's go to the next slide. And I wish Manav was here so he could read. Are you there, Manav? Nope. There
Yes,
you are,
ma'am.
Manav. It's your turn. And you can see some different currency, different money. And Manav, can you read that, please?
Yeah. Yes. Norway has
Recently, recently.
recently become the nearly cashless society, relying
Relying.
of credit credit cards, most transportation.
Transactions. Yeah, a transaction, you go to the store and you're not going to pull coins out of your pocket or bills. You're going to just put your plastic down and it takes care of everything. And that's, you pretty much don't need to have any money there. So they want to do it all on credit card. So let's go to the next slide. And this is the fjord. And Dutch, can you read that, please?
Ma'am, it's my turn now.
Yes, ma'am. This is what Norway is becoming most famous for. The UNESCO list fjords are now appearing on many travelers' bucket list, and with good reason. They are one of the most naturally beautiful and dramatic landscapes in Europe, and are one of the top attractions in
Scandinavian.
Scandinavian country.
Yeah. So if you see,
Scandinavian country.
nice. So a fjord is a long, narrow sea inlet, meaning mountains on both sides and a very deep water in between. So let's go to the next slide. And waterfalls coming off the hills. Quite
Wow.
nice.
So
Here's
beautiful.
one that I went into. It's called the Troll Fjord, because at the end where the mountains are, we'll learn it's like in a legendary face, looks like a face in the mountains. Then they'd call that a troll, which is kind of a mythical character they like to tell stories about. So let's go to Shivansh. Would you like to read this?
Yes, ma'am. The coastal of Norway has a
Spectacular.
spectacular landscape that include water, flat land, and mountains. The best way of relax
To
and
relax.
see the
Magnificent.
magnificent
Decent.
view of the coastal areas is to take the day trip on the local cruise
Cruise.
ships.
Cruise
So
ship.
on this cruise ship, it ran by petrol most of the way, but when it went into this protected area, it turned it off and it had electric motor. And so they want to preserve this and not let any pollution get into it. So the electric motor glided along silently. And as we were gliding along the mountains and looking up the steep sides, we saw an animal called a moose, a large animal, sort of like a cow, but it's a wild animal. Yeah, and it was just eating its grass on the side of the mountain. And we were lucky we were there, and it was snowy like this at the far end. And as we said, the farther you get away from the coastline, the colder it gets. So that's why there's snow. And those are glaciers for the most part. Yeah. And of course, the glaciers are melting because the earth is getting warmer. So let's go to the next slide. And
That's what I
Sartak,
did.
Sartak, I'm going to give you a word here, and the name of this ship line that you can see, is called Hurtigruten, And that would be a ship that would go from island to island, because remember, the Norwegian coastline is very wavy. There's not as many roads as there is water. So Hurtigruten. And there, go ahead and read about transportation.
Transportation. Hurtigruten is a Norwegian cruise operator founded in 1893. Its unique and modern coastal ships sail almost the entire length of Norway, a journey which has often been named the world's most beautiful sea voyage. Hurtigruten calls at 34 ports along the coast of Norway.
Now, most of the time when Hurtigruten is out on the water, remember this is salt water, it's not as flat and reflective as this, but they happen to get it on a calm day when there was no wind. But some days when they're out on the water, it's so rough because water is affected by wind, and that the water comes up over the top of that ship and smashes down on it. So the water can be very rough in the North Atlantic Ocean. So they're pretty good with their boats there. They're good cruise operators. Local people use this. They go from port to port to visit family or for their job. So it's not just a cruise ship for visitors or for tourists. The Norwegian people use it, and it also delivers their mail.
Means
So
the transportation is not by road.
I would say that probably this is as popular as a road, equal.
Okay.
I saw more boats in one day in Norway, more different kinds of boats in Norway in one day than I saw my whole life before. People take to the ocean. They are very comfortable. And you have to remember that their ancestors were the Vikings. So they're very good seamen, sea travelers. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, the largest cities. I'm just going to read these to you and then we'll go. The largest cities would be Oslo, Bergen, Stavanger, Trondheim, Fredrikstad, and Drammen. So let's go to the next slide.
Oh,
And this is Oslo, Norway's cosmopolitan capital. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, Sartak, is it your turn?
It's
I
my
might have-
turn. Ma.
Oh, and Nati, I think the last person was Shivansh, right? So after Shivansh is Sartak, and then you're next, Nati.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ma.
Norway's capital is beautiful and it's an increasingly popular place to visit in this country. Yes, it is expensive, and yes, it hasn't got a long list of world famous attractions. But Oslo is clean, laid back, and surrounded by a beautiful fjord and acres of lush woodland.
So you can see there's the castle, and you can see to the left on the hill, it's got a wall. So that would have been in medieval times, in the 1600s. It would defend the people of the city, but fortunately for them, no one ever came to attack them. So the castle was never needed or was never a battle there. Okay, so let's go to the next. Anadi, can you say your name for me one more time?
Unnati.
Unati, okay, thank you. Go ahead. And Unati, these are some girls I took a picture of. They are in their traditional costume, and their costume is called a bunad. Go ahead.
Okay. A bunad is a traditional folk costume that you find all over Norway. All through much more popular with women. Men's bunad are all the best time to see the outfit is National Day, when the streets are full of generations. You may also people wearing one out wedding and
Babu,
Or
don't
other-
disturb. Babu.
Yeah. So or other celebrations. Now, so this was on National Day, And I learned about these costumes. They'll get them when they're 16 years old, and they will be made by their mother or their aunt, and they will use the same costume their whole life. So very, very precious. Each region of Norway has a different color and a different design. So because these girls are all wearing the same, they're from the same area, and that's why they're black and red with the white blouse, but very pretty costumes. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is about National Day. Dutch, can you read that, please?
Yes,
There you
ma'am.
are.
National Day. Every year on May 17, Norwegians shed their typically reserved shell to dress up, hit the streets and party. It's a day full of national pride. Yet there's no display of military power and politicians keep quiet. Norway's Constitution Day is all about the children. The lack of military parades is perhaps the most notable difference about Norway's Constitution Day compared to many other countries around the world. Instead, the main parade is full of children from local schools, often in marching bands. Proud parents watch on with smartphone cameras at the ready before joining a people's parade later in the day.
So if you can see to the right, you can see the schools. And another notable thing about that is if you went to the school even 50 years ago and you still had an instrument, you could join in their band. So once you were a part of the school, you could always go back and help the people play their band because it was inclusive. Another thing about Norway is that they've had many immigrants come to their country in the last few years. Immigrants are also welcome to participate in National Day, and even people from, say, Arabia, Saudi Arabia, or maybe from Africa, they will put on the Norwegian costume, and it's very open and inclusive culture to where everyone is welcome. The little girl in the picture, you might think everybody would have blonde hair and look like that, but the Norwegians are also the place where you've probably heard of the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize, that started in Norway because they value diversity very much. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, Manaf, where are you? Are you there? I don't see your picture, but can you read this for us? He might have walked away. So let's go to Sartak. Shivansh, it's your turn.
The children's parade lasts 4 hours and participants are greeted by the king and queen.
I thought in this right-hand picture, it was so interesting because the man is wearing a male bunad, the male traditional costume, but look how tall he is. He almost looks like a giant. He was so big. Children carry the flag of Norway. They sing the national song. And the girl on the right is just having a great time, just walking along. And then on the side, you can see all the grandparents and parents, cheering them on as they walk. A very loving country. Let's go to the next slide, please. And here's some more of the costumes. As you can see, each region has a different color of costume. So they're just marching. Everybody had the flag. I don't see any bands here, but they would be playing instruments as well, marching songs mostly. So let's go to the next. Okay. And
Should I
Sartak,
read this also?
if you would like to read the first paragraph, let's let Sartak read the second one.
The royal family spent hours on the
Bal-
balcony
Balcony.
balcony of the royal palace, waving as the children's march past. The traditional that was started by King Kahakohon
Hakun.
and Queen
Maud,
Kahakohon and Queen
Maud,
Maud
Maud.
Mad way back in 1906.
So this is their palace, and like you can see where the columns are at the very bottom above the arches. That would be where the king and queen would sit and wave to everybody as they go by. And Sarta, can you read paragraph number 2? Paragraph 2,
Yes, ma'am.
Norwegian children.
Norwegian children look forward to May 17 just as much as their birthday or Christmas. It's not the chance to wave at the royals and there aren't any presents to open. The reason is simple: children get to eat as much ice cream as and as many hot dogs as they like on May 17, even in the morning.
So there you go. They like their ice cream. Another big thing they love to eat is cake, and you'd see cakes everywhere. They very much like sweets in Norway. They like sweets and coffee. Let's go to the next page. And Anati, there you go. This is something very, very strange that I think you will all be interested in, because these are teenagers dressed up in their costume, and they call it Russ, R-U-S-S, Russ. And go ahead, Unati, and read that.
Also joining the People's Parade are Norway's high school graduates, known as Russ. They are easy to spot in their brightly colored overalls. On May 17, they are likely to be taking it easy as the day marks the
I'm going to say that word,
of
culmination. Good.
culmination
Culmination.
Good.
culmination of 2 week period of parting that is seen as a rite of passage by most Norwegians.
So I thought that was really interesting that, they're 18 years old and their parents turn them loose for 2 weeks and they can do whatever they want to. And then they have to come back into the society and get jobs or go to school or whatever they're going to do after high school. But, it's interesting. Another custom. Unati, yes.
Sajed sir, we should also have that
What?
in our India, like Norway.
It's sad that you don't have that.
Our culture is very different. Our culture is very different from them.
Oh, it's different than the US as well. And
Our parents force us to do everything what they want.
Yes. And so it's very uncommon. And I guess they say just go for it for 2 weeks. But I'll have to say the most Norwegians are very shy people. They're very, they don't make friends as easily as maybe people in India or people in the US. They're very composed. So for these 2 weeks, they just cut loose and party. But that's not really in their culture. So yeah, really a different way of looking at the world. So let's go to the next slide.
Wow, what a beautiful city.
Oh, so beautiful. And it's called Bergen. And I believe now it's Manav's turn if he is there.
Ma'am, he's not there.
He's not there. So in that, it's Dutch turn.
Yes, ma'am. The rainy but beautiful city of Bergen was apparently the inspiration for the fictional and the hit Disney animation Frozen. The picturesque city is one
Picturesque.
picturesque picturesque city is one of the prettiest and the best city to visit in Norway and is pep- peppered with medieval buildings, Norwegian churches, and colorful timber houses.
These colorful houses that are the tall houses on the left-hand side used to be warehouses. The German people came and set up business in Norway and historically went back as far as 1200 AD through the Middle Ages. And what they did is they distributed all through Europe, even down to Rome in the Mediterranean, and basically set up a trading post. So if you had, say, olive oil in Italy, you would trade with Norway. Maybe they'd send you lumber or maybe codfish. And so throughout this trading region, the Germans were making money facilitating trading between countries. And you have to remember, most of the trade during that time was done by water. So because they were very good at boating, they could travel from Norway to France in about 36 hours, which is pretty incredible. Yeah. So anyway, let's go to the next slide.
We have some Bollywood movies also doing a lot of shootings there. I remember one of the song of Salman Khan was shoot, if I'm not wrong, Cuba, Norway, all these cities.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, it's very picturesque. So filmmakers
Yes.
love that, right? Okay, let's go to the next
Now we
slide.
have less than a minute. We have to restart.
Okay. Oh, a minute, we restart. So here we are from Bergen. Mr.
Yeah.
Knudsen and I are down in the bottom corner
Yeah.
wearing heavy coats because it was still cold in May when we were there. So not rainy, luckily. We got beautiful weather, but just chilly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So are we almost ready to start the new?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I stop and then restart?
Hold on. Yeah, I just want to know who read last.
Daksh.
Dutch. Okay. Then the next, Shivansh, you'll be next. Okay. So let's restart. And when we restart, you'll be next.
Okay.